Hey everyone, this is Eric with Rockin' HT's TV, session number 26. We are on the final assembly of our Ford Louisville end-dump project we've been working on for several weeks in a row. So I am excited to be on with you this evening. It is going to be a great final show. We've come a long way. So this is the pre-show, of course, and we've got about 6 minutes before we kick off the regular event. We will wait for a few people to catch the word and get on the call, and we will get going. In the meantime, just a little recap for those of you that are just joining on. We started out with two different Ford Louisvilles. Here's number one. Hi Dylan, how are you? Nice to see you. There's Vaughn. Hello, hello. So we started out with two Ford Louisvilles. These are my top shelf replicas, and this was one of them. Had a little air thing on top of it, but nevertheless, so we started out with the long hood version like this, and also a short hood version like this. So you'll notice the difference right there. And what we did was we started this series by tearing the whole thing down, take him clean down to the frame on one, stretched out the frame. We bought 3D printed boxes, put them all together, and then stripped off paint, cleaned them up, taped. We painted base coat, taped off, painted a second coat on top of the base, and then, gosh, we've got new wheels coming, which aren't in yet, nevertheless. And then we painted a box and assembled that, and now tonight we are on final assembly. So this is where we are as a little recap. Started, I think we've been on, this might be lesson number 5, I think. I don't recall, but didn't go back and count. Hi Ward, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. Yeah, we're getting a few more people on now. That's good. This is going to be likely a little longer lesson because this morning I put one together, and it took me right about an hour. Of course, I did a couple of other things in the middle of that. Might be 45 minutes. It just depends on how well things go together. So it might be a little longer lesson tonight, but that's okay. Nathan, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. And got a little light off here in the shop so you don't get any bad glares and my head doesn't get too shiny for you. So we're doing well. Hi, Tyler from Waukene. I almost went to your town today and ended up going to Oakley to drop my son off. He is with Larson Harvesting, and I met them. Met them up in Oakley, and then he took off and went on to Colby to go cut wheat. I think they're actually experiencing some rain. I'm not certain from his Snapchat exactly what was going on, but it's kind of neat. So yeah, he'll be cutting wheat hopefully as soon as it dries out tomorrow or maybe later this week. So I saw a lot of custom harvesters today. There was combines everywhere. I only saw there was about 5 of them running closer to where I live here in Dodge City. There's 5 of them west of town and north that were cutting when I came home. But from Garden City north to Oakley, back through Scott City over to Dighton, if you have a Kansas map in front of you, big loop, big circle basically, tons and tons of combines and harvesters. Nobody's moving except to fill fuel and grease machines. Okay, we have a question here, and I'm going to just dial that back down so I could see it. Dylan says, weren't the manufacturers supposed to remake the Ford trucks? Oh, there we go. Ford trucks with a grain bed. I haven't seen them for sale yet. As far as I know, Dylan, all that's going to be released I haven't heard different yet. I'm sure there's something in the works. I don't know. As of this moment, the only thing that's available is a single axle grain end-dump, and it would be a modified, a short stake bed, kind of like this. And I spoke with Alan that did the run, and he took several different kinds of stake beds and then put them together so there would be no trouble from manufacturers. No one could come back and say, "Oh, you copied my design." So he didn't want to run into that. So it is a stake-like bed model, but if you've seen one stake bed, you've seen them all. Basically, they all look pretty much alike, especially like Knapheide, Obico, and there's a couple of other brands too. This one I actually copied a napide bed that I found on a truck southwest of town. So hopefully I don't get in any trouble. Who knows? Okay, we got some more comments. Ward says he finally got some rain. Good. Glad to hear that. We got rain too, another 30 hundredths, which is impeding harvest. But I always say, in western Kansas, it's far better to be a bit wet than to be dry, because once the faucet shuts off, it'll be dry for months. Okay, yes, Vaughn, you could use some rain up in the Dakotas, for sure. Tyler says, no one is moving in Waukene. Yep, you got a bunch of rain. Dwayne is on. Hi, Dwayne. Michael is on. And Ward. Oh, small tornado near Salina. Wow, okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay, guys, well, we've got a good crowd on tonight, so I think we are ready to get it going. So we're just going to fire off and go. So, hello, everyone. My name is Eric with Rockin' H TV, Rockin' H Farm Toys, and tonight we are starting Rockin' H TV session number 26, the final video of our Ford Louisville end dump grain bed project. To give you just a very brief recap, we started out with two Ford Louisvilles. One was a long hood, another a short hood, and we stripped them down, took them apart, took the paint off of them. We put base coat, top coat, clear coat, details on them. We took, we painted some stake type grain beds, put those together, and they are in final assembly. Well, they're assembled now. And gosh, what else did we do? Oh, we stretched frames, painted them, got that all done. So lots and lots of good stuff in these lessons. So if you happen to know someone making a bed or making a truck like this, tell them to get a hold of these videos if they have any questions. That's where we're at. Tonight we are going to do final assembly on our Ford Louisville short hood. Let me show you what the final project should look like when we're done. This is the long hood Ford Louisville. This one is not completely done. You'll notice it's missing exhaust. It does have a driveline now. It's missing exhaust. It needs DOT tape on the sides, and these wheels, if you haven't seen the real photo of the real truck, it has white two-hole buds on it. I do not have those in my possession yet. Long story, but it doesn't matter. And then also, I need to fashion an air conditioner for the top of the cab. So that will be coming as well. That I'm just going to hand make out of a piece of styrene stock that looks like this. This is just 1/4-inch styrene. Nothing fancy about what I'm about to do on this. I'm not even going to show you, because all I'm going to do is take this and then make a square out of it, shorten it up, and then put an angle on it, and that's going to be the air conditioner. And if you've seen some of these old type air conditioners, they're really nothing fancy. So if you can be handy with a piece of sandpaper and a file, boom, you got it, and a little bit of paint. So that is all we're going to do there. So just a few more people want to say hello to. Hi Keith, hi Scott, and Brandon. Hi Brandon. Scott says, almost forgot. Well, hello, hello. Glad you made it. Pardon me, Scott. And Brandon, there you are. Good to see you as well. I'm going to turn on a light and then flip the camera around, and we'll get busy on this lesson. And as I mentioned in the pre-show, this may be slightly longer because there's just a lot of moving parts. Sometimes these assembly videos go real well. Sometimes they just take a little bit of extra time, especially if I happen to lose something and I lose my cool. All right. Hi, Virginia Lee Allen Jones. Hello, hello. And Scott once more with busy. Okay, good deal. And you can see all my custom harvesting models over there on my wall. Aha. Alrighty, just give you a little ride. Okay. So once again, this is the finished truck. Does have working hoist, and it does have mud flaps. I'll get into that, how I did those. And the hood opens more or less. It doesn't open a lot, but on these TSRs it doesn't open very far anyways, because it hits your front bumper. Anyway, but not a whole lot. Oh, we did put on fuel tanks too. These are the 3D printed fuel tanks that we painted some time ago. Okay. Now, just for quick reference, when you assemble a Rockin' H bed that you buy in my Shapeways store, this is how you're going to do the final assembly on the bed. And then it is just going to drop onto the frame And I really like this. This is not my design. I actually stole this idea from another guy years ago. Did some 3D printing early, oh gosh, in 2013, 2012. Pretty crude 3D printing, but he had this clever design with the hoist. Now the hoist is my design, but this kind of idea with having everything in one little batched assembly, you just drop on a frame. I told my designer that's how I wanted it, and we took that fellow's idea. Wish I could remember who he was. But anyway, so here's our parts. Okay, now you remember when we took this apart, we put all of our parts right here in this nice, neat little bin. That way nothing gets lost. Then, let me see, we're going to need some tweezers. We're going to need some Instaset. We have our favorite glue. And we're actually going to use a new bottle so it behaves. And we're going to need a pair of pliers and some exhaust. Okay. I think we're ready. Let's go. And if I happen to get out of the camera shot, make sure you let me know. If there's something you need to see, I have the camera right in front of me so you can ask me questions. Hopefully I don't miss anything. All right. Hi, Mark and Nathan. Good to see you. Hello, hello. All right. We're going to start with the hood. Now, I absentmindedly I did this on purpose, and I found I didn't need to. Duh. I took my chrome pen and I painted the inside of these headlight mounting holes. Don't need to do that, so don't bother. There's a chrome piece on there I'd kind of forgot about. It's been a while since I'd been into them. Yeah, so you don't need to put chrome in there. I did use my chrome pen for the lights across the top and the door latch here. And then I found another cool tool. We talked about the Molotow chrome pen. I found a Molotow orange pen that has this really fine point on it, and I use that to paint my amber lights on top, or the orange lights on top, the clearance lights. So I use this Molotow pen, and this one is the 1.5 millimeter crossover tip. 1.5 millimeter, and I bought this at Hobby Lobby. Okay, the Molotow chrome pen I bought on Amazon. Okay, now one other thing before we get going too deep. We have this air cleaner cap. This is plastic, and I told you do not, under any condition, take paint off of this with lacquer, or don't dip it in lacquer thin or anything like that. This is plastic and it'll turn to goo. Okay, so all I did was I cleaned it with a rag of lacquer thinner, shot primer and paint on top of it, and then put these on when you weren't watching. Here's the thing, on this, I forget which one it is. I believe on the short hood, it's got kind of a, let me draw it out so you can see it. Didn't think about this earlier. But it's got a hole that looks kind of like a letter D, okay? And the pin on this one also looks like a letter D and fits into this hole. So you can't interchange these two breathers if you're doing more than one. It's not really important you know that, but just, you know, something you can put in the back of your Rolodex if you need it. This has a round pin on it and a round hole on the hood. Just something I discovered this morning during assembly. So there was no magic to putting this together. It was just, you know, make sure that the hole didn't have a bunch of paint in it, and then snap it in, a little glue on the backside, and done. Okay. Now, let's go looking for parts. Here we go. And if you recall, way back when we took this apart, your headlights come in two pieces. So we're just going to set some parts out here just so we can see what we're working with. Okay, and here's another part to that headlamp. Okay, And sometimes they come apart and sometimes they stay together. Okay, so you'll notice this one has the little plastic insert, clear plastic insert in it already. But this chrome piece right here is why you do not need to put chrome inside that hole. Okay? Alrighty. What we're going to do here is try and... Yeah, they're going to use our finger and stick that in there. Okay, perfect. Okay. And this one came apart, so we're going to be really gentle. And do not grab these parts too tightly with your tweezers or whatever you're going to use, because if you do, sometimes they'll slip and they'll bing, shoot off, and then you got to go find them as you lose your religion looking. And I will tell you, I did that this morning. That might be why it took me so long to assemble them, huh? What do you think? Okay. Now, you'll notice I did not put any glue on these for a reason. I'm going to put glue on the back side. That's it, okay? And I'm going to put just a little slop of glue right there. And, I mean, if you want to put some over here by the hole, that's fine. It's pretty straightforward. Maybe it's straightforward. There we go. Okay, together. Boom. Okay, next I'm going to try something that I did not do this morning. I'm going to try, I want to put these turn signals in and then put the glue on. Okay. Alright. And I use these bent needle nose here. I don't know that you have to do it that way. I just like the way, I just like doing it this way. Okay. And if you have to force them in, like if you have to press really, really hard, then I would stop what I'm doing. If they're not going in relatively easy, I just go get a tiny drill bit that'll fit in that hole, and with your fingers just work it back and forth and clean the paint out inside there. You could even work it up and down if you wanted to, just to clean out that hole a little bit so this slides in easier. Because it just seems like whenever I have to force these tiny parts when I'm on final assembly, that's when you know, you break a pin. You know, you've come this far, you would hate to have your plier or anything slip after a pin breaks, and then you screw up your paint as that thing slides across your hood or wherever you're working. Okay? And I did not push real hard here, guys. I just pushed gently, because again, I do not want to slip and screw up paint. That would, ooh, yeah, I would be an unhappy camper. And if you want, just get in there with your fingers, push things around. That's it. Well, okay. So here's a perfect example. Not going in very well. So what I'm going to do, I have me a, what is this, 3/64 drill bit. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to work that up and down inside that. All I'm doing is just kind of cleaning out any paint that might be on the inside of that hole. Now blow it out, and then we're going to try again. Another reason you don't want to grab too hard on this, especially with needle nose, is you can already see I'm scuffing up that turn signal a little bit with my plier. Come on, get in there, you bad boy. Be a nice one. Huh. It doesn't want to behave here. That's not good. Okay, let's see if we can. Okay. When in doubt, take a really sharp knife and don't stick yourself with it. You can even trim Maybe there's a little bit of plastic here that is kind of hanging up. Maybe some leftover glue that's not wanting to play. This is what ends up taking so long on some of these things. You just don't want to screw it up. Oh God. There it went. Oh no. You still don't want to go, you dirty dog. Okay, now it's in. Okay. Well, I'm going to put my finger on that. I'm just going to put a little splash of glue inside there. And while we're here, we're going to get that headlight. Okay. That's kind of loose in the hole now. That's okay. Yeah, and you know what we're going to do? Because I just don't trust it. We're going to get our handy dandy Instaset. And we're just going to do a little bit of Instaset. Right? See? There. Now it won't come out. Holy cow. Evening, Greg. Nice to see you. Looking forward to a 42 mile ride. Not on motorcycles. We're going to go road biking down in Texas. For fun. Yeah, I believe that. We're going to ride bikes for 40 some miles. Okay. Okay, a little bit of glue there. And Insta-set that baby. And you're done. Your hood at this point is essentially done, guys, okay? So you can set this off to the side and it'll just look at us there. Okay, good. Now, we're going to work on the cab. You know, these things look kind of complicated, but this is just a really, really nice cab. I just like these cabs a lot. You probably get tired of me saying that. It's just a great cab. Not too complicated. You know, they're just wonderful. Okay, now if you remember from the disassembly video, I don't know if I swore out loud on that one, but I should have. Because you'll notice that this stupid windshield is busted. For the love of monkeys. So, we have a couple of choices here. We can put it in broken, or, which that's dumb, because that's just dumb. We're not doing that. But that is a choice. You could put your windshield in broken and then hope someday that you find one. That's possible. Or you could take a piece of plastic and fashion one out of a water bottle, or even an empty container, like anything with clear plastic on it that's somewhat malleable. You could make that. Or you could do what I'm going to do on this one. I know at some point there's going to be another windshield come around, so I'm just going to let this chill out without a windshield, because we can weasel one in right through that window and then wallow it in there with some tools. Won't be easy, but then we'll have a good windshield. And I noticed one thing on this one. Excuse me. I noticed one thing on this one this morning, that I didn't use any glue on it. And then I cut there was some other extemporaneous plastic on it that I cut that off too, just so it would go in easy. And it's just sitting in there, all chilling out. And it went in really, really simple. So I think a guy could, hope and pray that someday an aftermarket windshield comes around. Maybe somebody has a junk truck or a broken one. They'll give you a windshield, and then you just put it in down the road. Because sitting on a shelf, you probably won't notice it. Anyway, so be that as it may. So the windshield is super simple to put in, guys. There's no magic to the windshield. As I did mention, though, I cut off some of the plastic that was getting in my way, and what it was this stuff right here. And all I did was took my side cutters and just nipped it right back here, and then put the windshield in, and it went in perfectly. I mean, it was really, really simple, okay? So we're not doing a windshield, so that just cuts out how much of our build? Well, quite a bit actually, because now we're ready for interior. Ta-da, there it is. Okay, it just snaps into place. I didn't even glue it in. Okay. Oh, whoops. Got ahead of myself. I'm sorry. Got ahead of myself. Forgot about the back window. My bad. Boy, I was getting all excited about putting this thing together and forgot the back glass. I did not forget it on that one. Okay. So again, this one, I think when I took it apart, there was some plastic on the top of this that busted off. No big deal. But all you're going to do is stick that in there and put it down, and off you go. Okay? It just snaps into place, and then when I was in there, just took a little spot of glue right here. And I didn't put a lot. You don't need a lot here, guys. You're not, I mean, no one's going to be pushing on the back of that glass, right? I mean, if they are, you need to get new friends. So don't be pushing on my glass, you sucker. Alright, and then you're just going to stick that interior in. It'll be even with the bottom of the die cast here, all the way around. No worries. Okay. We're going to put the air horns on and the mirrors later. We're not going to do that at this moment. So we're just going to keep moving forward. Now, and the reason for that is we want to handle this without having to worry about busting air horns and mirrors. That's really the whole point. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and truck on. Okay. So right here, you have a place for a screw, and it matches that part in the engine. And there's a little lip on the back of the cab. So you're going to snag that lip, and there you go. That's it. That's it. I wish it were more complicated. It's not. Okay. You had your screws left over from when we took it apart. And we're just going to put, let me see. I do recall now that we had a little trouble here. Okay. So this might be a bit tricky, but we'll get it. I'm not worried. Okay. Well, we got to get smarter on this one. And if you remember, there's a transmission cover that's going to cover up that screw. I'm going to get that in there well. Alright. Well, we got to outsmart this, don't we? I can't remember if we took that off or not when we... Come on. What I'm going to do here is take this out. Maybe I will. By the way that tie rod has been, I'm thinking we didn't pull that apart when we... There we go. Now we can put that in. Okay, so we will... Whoops. Good evening, Matt. How are you? Nice to see you. We're just going to get that started in that hole first, and then if you don't have magnetized screwdrivers, I definitely recommend them for these. Okay, there we go. Now we're moving. All right. Okay, we have a nice tight fit there. Perfect. It doesn't look like it's quite sitting right, but nope, it's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, good enough. Now we can come back and put that tie rod back in. Okay. And here's a something I just learned. Unlike DCPs that have, well, there's an actual pin that connects your tie rod together. Huh. You can tell I have not taken one of these down all the way to that point. That's interesting. Huh. Okay, well, I'm not going to bother with that while we're live. I can put that back together when you're not watching. The important part that you're here for is getting the rest of this together. Okay. Now, this is your hood pin. Okay. And I found this to be just mildly tricky. I'm saying mildly, it wasn't a big deal. Just kind of like, eh. And what I did this morning was I actually started one side. I guess that one's going to go in easier than the one that this morning. Okay, the one this morning was kind of a challenge. It did not want to cooperate. And it looks like this one's going to be a bit easier. Okay, we'll see. And I'm going to use my needle nose. There we go. I'm going to grab that. Yep. Okay. And this is where I don't think I got that in there. Let's see if we can get that going. Yeah, come on. And it's good practice to be patient. I know some of us aren't blessed with that. I'd be the #1 guy that says I lack a little of it. Alright, and gravity's not helping me at all. This is what took a while this morning, was just lining this up. You know, there's just some odd things here. And that doesn't want to go. We are not lined up over here somewhere. Okay, let's get that out of the road. Come on, you. Ah. So you remember when I said it was going to probably take a little longer? Yep. Here we go. This is why. And if any of you follow custom harvesters, I took a bunch of photos today on my way on my travels this afternoon. And I saw Braithen harvesting. I saw Olson custom harvesting. Some of these crews were split up. I saw Johnson, 2 of Johnson's trucks. Who else did I see? Saw some guys I don't know. New Miller, I saw one of their service pickups in a town. There we go. Now we're in. Okay. Oh, shoot, don't. Okay. There, hood is on. Hallelujah. Okay. Ta-da. Okay. There it is. Ta-da. So the hood is on. Now what I did this morning was, just to ensure that I don't have any trouble down the road, I just took a little bit of this. Just a spot of glue right there on that pin, just to ensure that it's sticky enough that it doesn't come out. That's all I did there. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and put the rear end on. Okay. Okay. And again, it's worth repeating that these are not the correct wheels for this particular build. This is a replica, and those wheels are incorrect. And for some reason, I think I misplaced a couple of screws. Ha! Where'd my screws go? That's not good. Well, no worries. And here I thought I was so clever and kept everything together. Huh, guess not. But luckily I have another truck here. We'll just take a couple of screws out of this one. Actually, I had to take that windshield out of this one and put it in that one. since I have this lovely donor right here, huh? Okay. Okay, so you're looking for 2 screws that are matched like that, and then we're going to create a drive line. Maybe. Sorry, I've got my hand in the shot there so you can't see it, but there you go. Now you can see it. And just so you know, there is a hole right there that goes toward the front. That's where your drive line's going to mount. Okay. And I did notice this morning when I tightened these up, just something to be aware of. When I tightened this up on the first one I showed you at the beginning of the show, I did notice that if I tightened them up a lot, it wanted to, well, it would be like this, you know, the front would be higher in the back, back would be higher in the front. Something like this would happen, so I just loosened it up so it's just slightly loose, and then the wheels track nicely, okay? Just something to be aware of, okay? And I wonder why that is. That was nice and loose a little, or tight a bit ago, but now it's loose. We're gonna just put our screwdriver back on this and give it a little more torque. There. There we go. That's better. I like you like that's better. Okay. And like I said, that tie rod I'll fix a little later when you're not looking. And look at that little pin right there. That's the pin that holds your tie rod together, unlike a DCP. That's kind of cool. All right. Anyway, you didn't come here to see that, did you? Okay. I'm using plastic. Oh, shoot. Whoa, getting ahead of myself again. There is a cover for the transmission, and it is looking like this, okay? I went ahead and took my knife and I just cut that off, kind of right back here at this fat piece of plastic. And the reason I'm doing that, and I will show you in just a second after I get it cut, or you can use your side cutters, whatever you happen to have. Use your knife, use your side cutter, it's all good. So I cut that off just like so, because I'm going to take my 1/16 inch bit, I'm going to drill right through this. Okay, so I put a hole through that. Here's why. Because I want a place for 1/16 inch rod to rest. Okay, so I got a hole back here, like so. And then I have a hole over here, here for the other piece of plastic. Okay, now a couple of ways to go about this. Just depends on how much detail you want on this. You could use this 1/16 inch rod, and just for kicks and giggles, maybe that's just what I'll do on this one. On this particular truck, you'll notice I used this 330, oh shoot, it's not 3/32. It's close to 332 styrene pipe, okay? So you'll notice that here in the middle, it's bigger. And then I used this inside this pipe to go into the transmission and then into the rear end. Okay, you don't have to do that. I did that. This is just kind of what I normally do. If you don't like that, if you want to make it simple on yourself, just use this pipe right here. Paint it black with a magic marker or something like that. And then you can, I mean, it's been flexible enough that you can just cut it to size. And then with a tweezer, you can just bend it into the hole in your transmission. And then your driveline is done. I mean, that is so simple. And you'll have a driveline. And then while we're here, I guess I did neglect to take this off in this process. This is just a weed burner muffler because we're going to put something else on it. Okay, so we will go ahead and I'm going to take that and get that out of the road, and that will serve you well. So we're just going to put that in here where it came out, right? Simple enough. Okay, so all we're going to do, we're just going to put some glue on this, just like so. And then we're going to hold it in place with our screwdriver. And then we're going to take our Instaset so we can keep moving forward. Like so. Okay? That's all there is to that. We're done. Okay. And then we know we're going to need a drive line. So we'll just take that. So let's, we're just going to kind of guesstimate on how long that should be. And I put a hole clear through that transmission, so we should be safe cutting it right there. Now we can always make it shorter. Okay, so let's make a drive line. Let me show you just what I do on drive lines. So we're just going to take this Sharpie. You could paint it if you want to paint it. Yeah, it's up to you. Paint just takes longer to dry. And all it needs to be is black. We're not making a Picasso on the drive line, are we? It just needs to have something looking underneath there. And if any of your buddies say, well, it's just a piece of plastic you painted black, you need new friends if they're that picky. Or you say, well, Rockin' H made a series of videos. You do it. Okay. See, this is not rocket science, is it? Just, a little driveline action. Nothing fancy. Just making it gorgeous. Okay. Or you could do what I did on the first one. Do a pipe and a pipe. It's your model, so you make it as gorgeous as you want it. Okay. There. See, guys? You have a drive line. Now, we'll get that one out of the road, and we'll bring this back into the view. Actually, what we'll do is we'll go right through here. I think this might work better. Ah, look at that. It's coming together so well. Whoop, come here, you. Maybe made it just a hair too long. We're going to find out when we get that. Ta-da! You got a drive line. Okay. Next, we need to put this on. Now, what I had to do this morning was, because this assembly here is just slightly too wide. It's a bit too snug. It's not happy. So what I do on that situation, you're going to run into other trucks if you use this particular kit, or you could hand make your one. I've seen some guys do some really crazy cool work with two hoists. What you can do, what I did was just cut that out, so now I got a little more room to put that plastic. Oh, jeepers. And this morning when I did this, it took me like a crazy amount of time to get this back together after I cut it. That pin's just tiny. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes you're trying to line up too, and that doesn't make it. That doesn't help. Where's it at? There it is. Come here. There we go. There it is. Okay. Alright, good for you. Got you in there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I just trim this a little bit because it's too wide. So we're going to just come in here like so. And hopefully everything stays together long enough to get it in the frame. Ta-da! All I'm going to do is set that down there. I'm dry fitting here, making sure everything looks beautiful. And it does. Okay, see, that's all I did there. Just dry fit it on there, and here we go. So now that we've dry fit it and we know it's going to work, take a little bit of glue on the frame. Do not get carried away with your glue on the frame. The reason for that is, especially back here on your bed, the glue can run down the side of your frame, get over your axles, and then guess what? They're no tunny. No ton. They don't turn. That's not good. I'd love to tell you that I haven't done that, but I have. All right. Now, if you can see here, I'm just making sure that all of this is nice and square on my frame. So you can look on the top, or from the top to the bottom, you can see that the mounting frame on the bed is even on both sides. Okay, and then we'll look at the back to make sure it's even on both sides. And then I'll kind of flip it like this and make sure that it's gorgeous and even. And then I'm going to take it and look at it from the front just to make sure that I don't have it out of sorts. And it looks like it might be just slightly goofy there. There. I like that. Okay. And then what we'll do, because we just don't want to sit around and wait on this thing to get its job done, we're just going to put a spot of Instaset there, and a spot there, and a spot right over here. And whoa, my big hand in the way. Ooh, that was scary. Sorry about that. And then a spot right here. Just like that. Good evening, Matt. Good to see you. And voila. Look at that. Work of art. And this is a KN22, and this one is a KN20. And just for comparison purposes, let's just take a look at that. You can see that the top one is slightly longer than the bottom one. So it is 2 feet, which would be 3/16 or 3/8 of an inch longer than this. This one's 3/8 of an inch longer than the other one. Okay, and we have a big gap back here. Ooh, don't be scared of that. The real one I'm modeling or replicating has a big gap back there. And why would you say? Well, because the exhaust is not on the side as this factory model is. The exhaust is back here between the cab and the bed, and it's a turnout. And Matt Smith says, he asked, Eric, what is the width of the grain beds? And they are 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. So, and yeah, that's where we're at on that. Okay, now we can go ahead and put some mirrors on if we want to. We can go ahead and put the headlights, or excuse me, air horns on. That's all good stuff to do. Again, I'm using my 3/64 inch bit, and I'm just kind of hand twisting that in there, cleaning the paint out of the holes. Okay, that's all I'm doing, just cleaning the paint out of the holes. You could use a, what do they call it, a pin vise if you have one. There we go. Okay. I'm blowing the paint off a little bit. All the funk that came out of there. And I'm going to just stick that mirror right there in the bed. I want to put that mirror over here. And now I'm ready for an air horn and an air horn. And Tim says, good evening, Tim, by the way. I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome, welcome. Tim says, whoa, would love to have this for a C60 project. Absolutely, Tim. It would be cool. I have got a C60 Chevy that I hopefully have a guy rebuilding for, redoing the frame or the STL file for 3D printing. I hope he gets it done. That'd be a dandy. Because I want to make a couple tandem C60s. And then I want to do C65s. Okay. Did you see what I did right before I glued that air horn in? I didn't point it out. Can anyone catch it? What did I do before I glued it in? And you may have seen me just do it again. And look at that. Not getting real crazy on the glue. Did you see that? Not much glue there. Remember, we're not gluing together. We're not putting the Titanic together. We're putting air horns on a die-cast cab that's not going to get played with. We used enough, but not too much. There he is, Michael Miller. Winter, winter chicken dinner. That's right, I dry fed it, just to be on the safe side. Okay, now we're ready for some mirrors. And there is a front and a back to the mirrors, okay? You'll notice this little flat side here is basically facing the rear of the truck, and this would be facing away or toward the front of the truck. This little, wow, not smooth side. How about that for technical language? If you manage to take those apart well, they should fit right in there. Oh, look at that. That was nice. That makes me feel happy. Okay, and you'll notice here okay, this 360 force is too big for the mirror hole. I'm going to grab a smaller one. So I got a tinier one. That one might be full of, I think that one's full of glue. This one may not work either. May have to get a brand new one. Yep. All right, hang with me here, fellas. Sorry about this. Let me introduce you to my stash of drill bits. Look at all those. I buy those on toolstoday.com. I don't get paid for plugging them, but I buy these by the bucket load because I bust them so easy. And these are 1/32 bits. 1/32. And they sell them, I don't know, I think I was buying 10 of them at a time for $2.50 or something. All right, there we go. Perfect. There, just needed to clean some paint out of that hole. All right, now it's happy. Let's go back and look again. And it seems like I may have busted those bottom pins off by accident. Oh, guess not. Okay. Tim says, I'm subscribed on YouTube, which is actually where I've seen you guys work. Love it all. Well, thank you very much, Tim. Appreciate you subscribing. Make sure you share the heck out of them videos for people that are DIYing their die-cast. Okay. Again, not... Oh, boy, I'm getting glue everywhere here. Making a mess of that. That's not nice. Okay, going back over here. Let's take a look and see what we have. Turn that around for the business end. There we go. See? Just a little bit of glue there. All right. There's glue. What am I saying? Just a little bit of paint removal. And somehow I have got two passenger side mirrors here. I wonder why that happened. That's weird. Well, that's strange. No, yeah. Huh. Did I goof up on this one this morning? Nope, I didn't. Well, that's kind of odd. Well, we're just going to have to go with what we have. All right. Okay. Dry fit and it works. Okay. And I did cut this pin. Looks like I must have broke that just a hair short when I took this bad boy apart. Okay, just put that there. Okay, next we've got some fancy dancy fuel tanks. We're going to put those on. These are not factory fuel tanks. These are bought off shapeways.com from Harvester 850 off of his Shapeways store. And you'll see that I painted those live on one of the lessons. I forget which one, but it wasn't long ago. These just fit on there sweet, and they come out right. These tanks don't actually match the real truck, but that's about as close as I can get. And I would draw. Hold on, I think there's someone asking for me. Honey, I'll be up in a bit. That's what happens with live TV. Sometimes you get a request from a child. Okay. So I'm going to hold that there. We're going to insta-set that. Now all I'm doing is I'm eyeballing this to make sure that this is the same across the bottom of the tank on the frame. And then I kind of just peeked over the top to make sure it looks good on top. And then just going to insta-set that bad boy on there so we can go to the other side. And you'll notice I'm not using a lot of insta-set, by the way. Also, I want that fuel cap right here toward the back. So I did make sure that I picked up the right one. Now you'll notice that there's some dried glue down here on the frame. You could come in with a rotary tool when this is all disassembled, or you could even take your knife and chip this away if you want. That's up to you. You're hiding it with the fuel tank. I don't know that it's entirely necessary. Okay. Okay, a little glue there, or a lot of glue, however you want. Okay. And insta-setting that. Let me see, I think I'm getting kind of low on your view there, aren't I? Okay, little insta-set there, and ta-da. There we are. Okay. Okay, what am I missing here? I think we've got a bumper to put on. Whoop, here it is. And I think we even have partial pins on that one to put there. That's cool. So we're not going to get real crazy on glue on this hole. Whoa, look at that. Here, you're not invited. Get out of here. I'm just using a little bit here, because that glue is going to come over and it could glue your hood closed. Not that this hood opens very much anyway, but oh, come on now. There. done. Okay. There we go on that. What are we missing here, guys? I don't think we're missing much more. Oh, haha. This is going to be worth $5. Okay, the real truck does have some. The real truck does have mud flaps. So what I'm doing here is, I took black electrical tape. I got this extra wide stuff, but you could, I mean, any black electrical tape will work. Okay. So all I did was I took a piece of black electrical tape, folded itself on its side, and then we're going to cut our mud flaps out of this. Now, Matt says I need a stack on there. That's a good idea. This would look silly without a stack. So I'm just kind of cutting a chunk of this off. No real rhyme or reason. Just eyeballing it totally here. Totally eyeballing. And then, is that about wide enough? Maybe just a hair wide? Well, if it's a bit wide, just cut it down. I mean, the price is right on electrical tape, right? 99 cents for 100 feet of it. And do we like it? Is that the right size? Oh, that'll work. You just cut another little millimeter off. Why not? Okay. And then I'll even do this so you can see it. How's that look? What do you think of that? Let me get this in the center of the shot for you. Not bad, huh? Not bad. Then, I'm just going to cut 2 pieces off the same length. And I'm just kind of putting these together like so. So they're about the same length. Cut that off. Okay. And there we go. We have mud flaps. Look at that. Well, thank you. Holy cow. Brilliant idea. Yeah, I've kind of found that, you know, some of these ideas we have, they don't have to be expensive, do they? Okay. And I just picked an arbitrary spot on the bed. You know, it's got these nice little stringers across the bottom, so it makes it easy to line these up, which I really like. That's kind of handy. Okay. And then the mud flaps on the back were there. I mean, those are the factory mud flaps, nothing fancy on that. And this one isn't quite perfect, so I'm just going to trim it just a little bit. I was going to put quarter fenders on it, never did. Oh, good. Okay. All right. Dwayne said quarter fenders, didn't get around to it. Okay. And then we know what stringer we used on that side, so we can make it the same size on this side. And again, if you're not using Instaset, guys, buy it. Especially if you're going to do very much of this. If you're only going to do, say, you just want one replica, save your money. But let's say you want to make a series of replicas of some stuff that you own. Then go to Amazon, go to a hobby store, whatever. I don't care where you buy it, just buy it and don't look back. And then some guys are using eyedroppers and different tools. This is my tool of choice. It's just a syringe with a needle, I forget, maybe a 12 gauge needle, I don't remember, with the tip filed down. And there's my Instaset. And then I mean, you've been watching me here. Just a little drop. That's all I need. You know, you don't need a bunch of it. Just need enough. And enough is a drop. Okay. Now we need some exhaust on this bad boy. Now the unfortunate thing here, it's regrettable. I did not go and pick exhaust before you guys came live, and part of that was I got up really early this morning. I was tired, and I actually fell asleep on the couch downstairs while I was waiting for the show to start. Whoops. So it's got a turnout stack, and if Dwayne is watching, you can tell me if this is the right one. This is a T800 stack off of a... Oh, what did this come off of? I think it came off of a PEM. I don't remember. No, that one's too big. All right, luckily we have more choices here. And if you're wondering what I'm going through here, this is my takeoff exhaust pipe stock. And don't ask me if I'm selling any, because I keep these because I'm stingy. They're hard to find sometimes. It's like, holy crap, I can't find any exhaust. Okay, so Dwayne said, he said, yes sir, it looks right. Well, you know what? Because it will not fit in there, we got to get creative. So we're going to use a heat shield and that pipe right there. And then we're going to find another one to match it for the other. Well, we'll do the other truck. I'll do the other truck when you're not watching. That one's not important. Okay, so now we have a heat shield and we have a piece of exhaust. And what's going to be cool here is now we can put that together like so. Maybe, what do we got in there? Okay, there's a couple of pins. No, Michael Miller, Instaset does not dry in the syringe. Good question. That was a good question. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. No, it does not dry in the syringe. It is going to just stay liquid. It doesn't freeze because I kept mine out in the garage all winter before we moved to this place. And it didn't freeze. Okay, so what I did, this is just a junk heat shield off of another truck that I salvaged, and same with the exhaust. There were two pins I cut out, and so we're just making our exhaust work for the truck. Okay, I use Jet Set, and it, oh wow, huh, cool. Okay, so we're doing something like this, and I'm assuming, right, Dwayne, that the exhaust just shoots out the side. I'm assuming it goes out to the side. I think that's what they all did on these old trucks. And then we're just going to get this. Uh-oh, what happened here? Something's not right. Well, I can fix that when you're not looking. Must have got some, oh, yeah, there we go. I just must have got a little glue where it wasn't supposed to be. Okay. Okay, so this is just dry fitting, guys. Nothing, I'm just testing, just seeing if everything's going to work. And we're going to do something like this on the back. I'm guessing right like that is where this is supposed to go. I'm assuming it shoots off to the side, right, Dwayne? We're just going to let that relax. Maybe. So what we're going to do here, use our knife to hold it. So we're doing something like this. Out the side just above the tarp. Okay, tarp, just above the tarp. Okay, well, since we have a new thing to worry about, we're going to do that quick. Okay, tarp frames look like these. Okay, this is a tarp frame I painted this morning. It's 3D printed, and it comes and it fits these beds. Okay, you can actually see the layers where the print layers on the ends on that curve. So we're just going to put that on. That way we get our exhaust the right height. Okay. Okay. Now we're just going to set that on there. Like so. What do we have? It's 9:33. Holy cow, we've been at this an hour. I kind of wondered if it wouldn't take a little while tonight. All right. Now we're just going to put a little weight on there while that glue dries. Where'd my other one go? Okay. That's just... Where did I get the thin blue tape I used? Just a second. I got that from, actually Justin Keycaver of Key Customs gave that to me when he was out here helping me on a model building summit. But it came from an auto parts store. It's just auto tape, auto masking tape. Okay, just above the tarp post, just like so. So here's what we got. And that heat shield's probably a wee bit tall, but I think it kind of works. Just like so. Okay, that's what we like. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, now that we've kind of got an idea of where we want everything, and we test fit it all, we're going to make it happen. We're going to make some magic happen. And I want that to the inside, so we're going to turn that upside down like so. We had it like, whoops. Okay. Ah, I'm gluing my fingers together. Look at that. Okay, that's peeking up above the tarp frame. Cool. Okay. Brandon Cooper, the truck frame is the original frame from the truck, lengthened with tubing to fit the bed Eric mounted on. Oh yeah, very good. Thank you. I guess I missed a question there. Sorry about that, Brandon. Okay. Now that we know the exhaust is all gorgeous, we're going to glue it to the truck. And hopefully this is going to go smooth. Ah! Okay, I'm using my knife to kind of hold it in place. And then I'm going to look here in the front. I'm actually in the front, making sure it's straight. And it is. And we're happy. So now we're just going to take some Instaset right there. Look at that. Just going to let that run down the back side. And it's on. Perfect. Okay. That had just enough time to get nice and dry, so we can take a look at that. Now, for tarp. Okay, guys, lots of ways to do tarps. You can do them tarp open, tarp closed. Dwayne, let me know what you want. This is actually not your truck, Dwayne. The other one is. This has the 22 on it versus the 20. So what I'm going to do is show you how I do tarps. And again, using this tape, okay, watch this. This is just how expensive my tarps are. You know, back when this truck was real popular, I don't know that Sherlock was around. And if it was, I don't think they had that fancy, maybe they did, I don't remember. Any truck that I drove about that vintage didn't have a fancy tarp. And when you were going down the road empty, the tarp was rolled up on the side, and you only had the tarp down when you had a load on. It seemed, or at least that was my experience. And I drove a lot of these older trucks like that over my tenure. So all I'm doing is just kind of makeshift rolling this up, and they weren't fancy, were they? They were just old canvas tarps that usually had a rope you had to pull them over with. Then you had a crank you inserted in one end to roll it up at the co-op. Okay, Andrew asked a good question. With 3D parts, how do you make them look real? Many coats of paint? Yeah, lots of paint. Yep, lots and lots of paint. And that's a good design. My designer did a really nice job. A fellow from England, I sure wish I could get a hold of him. He'd be doing more work for me because he was just freaking great. And he wasn't, I mean, he was, for what I got, it's like I was robbing him. He didn't charge me near enough for those designs compared to what I've paid other people. But he just did a smashing job. He did all my grain beds. But dadgummit, I guess he just decided he didn't want to do it anymore. It's kind of unfortunate. So here we go. Look at that. So all I'm going to do is I'm just putting this over here in a open position. So just cutting it. Oh, come on. There we go. Got it. Okay. Look at that. So again, Dwayne, this isn't yours, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay, then all we're going to do is a little bit of glue here. Probably being a little bit more. Glue on there than I really need, but you know. Okay, so all I'm doing here is holding it with my fingers, coming in with just a spot of Instaset there, and a spot over here just to hold it in place. Just like so. I'm going to take that and wipe it off. Ta-da. Okay. Lastly, and then we're going to wrap this up, guys. You've been awesome staying with me this long. I told you it'd be long, and it's actually going longer than I expected. And the real truck has DOT tape on the side, and looky here, DOT tape. I bought this from Jimmy Rosenberger at Mini Chrome Shop. I like this stuff that he sells. I really do. I really like it. It's just been good stuff. I dig it. Okay, we're just gonna. That like so. Then just to make it, let me see, we started out with the silver on the back end. Okay, silver at the back. Here we go. So all I'm doing is I'm cutting it. We're going to put the silver at the back so that, yeah, I know, no one would ever notice, but I'll notice. So the silver is at the back on the other side. Whoops, sorry. Well, nothing like going for a ride. Okay, Tim. Matt says he realized he wasn't making any money, and Tim says, I'm currently rebuilding a 77 Dodge one-ton truck. Wish I had a hydraulic setup you have. Tim, look at this. Hydraulic setups right from my Shapeways store. Look at that. Hundreds of them. Ping me a message. Okay, so the DOT tape is on both sides. Boom, boom. All we're really waiting on now is the correct wheels. We do not have correct wheels. So we need correct wheels on both sides, and we have DOT. Actually, and then there were some little wire ladders. Somebody went through a little more trouble. I mean, they were pretty elaborate ladders compared to what I've seen in the past. Normally, when I put a ladder on a truck, I go to hobbylink.com, or, I mean, really anywhere will have them, but I get this HO scale ladder, and then I'll paint it whatever color the truck is, and I'll just cut a piece to the ladder. This particular truck had actually, somebody had welded steps. Well, I mean, they weren't true steps. It looked like rebar or something like that bent around. But there was one, I think 3 of them on the real one coming down the side. Pretty crazy. I hadn't seen that before. Other than that, I think, except for I got to fix that tie rod now. You want to put if you wanted to put a hitch on this truck, you could do that. And basically, all you're going to do, you can use angle brass, or get you a piece of tubing like this and just cut out an L shape, an angle shape, and then you can glue it up to the, back here behind these lights. and that's all you have to do to put a hitch on a truck. I mean, that's all I've ever done. You just make sure you have a hole in it to receive any particular trailer you're working on. So that's all you have to do for a hitch. Fairly simple process there. Nothing too fancy. And I think, guys, that's let's just take a look at this for fun. Okay, let's just get this down here. And then what we'll do here is we're just going to unplug and take a look at that. Oh, they were aluminum steps. Okay, Dwayne, well done. Okay, so here is our truck all dolled up. Look at that. Oh, I did get a little glue there. Whoops. Ta-da. And there it is. And then here is the other one. These are the factory tires on this truck, and then these are DCP steers right here. And there they are. The twins sort of, as I mentioned before, all I have to do is put the rear wheels on and put a hitch on one of them, maybe straighten up a bumper there on that one, and we are good to go. Okay, guys, that is the finale of our Louisville end dump truck project. Again, want to thank all of you for participating and watching along on this long process. Been a good little ride here. It's been fun, and these are just amazing trucks to work on. I just really like them. They're just great. And you know, if you buy the brown ones like we started with here, if you can still find these are a bargain at like $25 or something. I mean, they're cheap. I mean, it's silly not to even practice on them. I mean, screw it up. Who cares? 25 bucks. You're going to learn a lot, and it's worth that. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at on those trucks, and yeah. So any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment box. I'm glad to answer anything. You know me, no secrets here, and glad to help you out. 3D parts, if you have questions on the parts, I got the hoist and everything. They're in my Shapeways store, and I have a few on hand here. Ping me messages if you need something, or just go to Shapeways, which I always prefer because then I don't have to think about shipping anything. But yeah, go to Shapeways. They're there. Just search Rockin' H in my Shapeways, on Shapeways, and you'll come up with all my stuff there. And I'll even post a link in the comments when I get back up in the house. Let me see, what else? I think that's it. I gotta go because it's like wicked late. We've been here a long time. Thank you all for watching again. Next week, no Rockin' H TV because I'm gonna be in Florida with a work conference. I'm gonna miss 4th of July. Bummer, huh? So no Rockin' H TV next week. And then the following week, I've been talking to doing a building. I don't even like buildings, but hey, let's learn how to do a building. So I've been asked for a building. So we're going to do a budget building, and it'll look like some things I've seen on eBay, I hope. I haven't ever put one together, so we're going to learn how about that. All right, so that's going to be the next series of lessons, is putting together a 1/64 scale shed. There you go. All right, guys, thank you again for watching. Like, comment, share, and get these in the hands of people you know that are building awesome models. We'll see you later. Good night.